RFK Jr. has been doing, I'm covering him a lot. I like everything the guy says. I have very few disagreements with him, but he's going to go into the media, making the media responsible for how you're feeling about Trump. Not my audience, but the other side. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel. This is where the happy patriots are. I keep emphasizing that. We need to stay happy, unlike the Democrats.
And somebody called me one of the anchors of ABC today, and I had an off-the-record discussion with him. And he said, there's so much division in this country. And I said, that's because you're causing it.
And then, even worse, he has increased his violent rhetoric, Donald Trump has, about political opponents, and in great detail, suggested rifles should be trained on former Representative Liz Cheney.
That's not what Donald Trump meant at all. This makes Kamala Harris a very dangerous leader. If this is how she's going to run America and how she's going to treat Donald Trump and those of us on the right, to deliberately take a quote out of context, she's disqualified as a leader.
My nephew, who's traveled with me for 19 months, he's my wife Cheryl's nephew, and he's been working for me for 19 months and traveled everywhere with me, and he's met President Trump many times now. And he said to me today, he said, everybody who's met President Trump loves President Trump.
That's a great personal testimony from his nephew, who may not even be a Republican for all I know. Here's Elon Musk. This shows the stakes of what Democrats will do to Republicans. Elon Musk, a lot of people still don't believe me when I say that the Dems will do everything in their power to destroy me if they win on November 5th. You're going, oh, Doug, you're just using hyperbole. No. This is in Newsweek. Could Elon Musk be deported for immigration violation? Elon Musk facing immigration problems for allegedly working in America without an employment visa and could arguably be deported. A legal expert told Newsweek that's what the Democrats are trying to do to Elon, one of the most successful businessmen, innovators in America. Gave away those Starlink satellite internet to people suffering from the hurricane. Now here's Jake Tapper. Got to give credit where credit's due. He's clarifying on behalf of CNN another Trump quote.
When Trump said he was going to do something for women, whether they like it or not, whether the women like it or not, he was talking about protecting women, whether they like it or not. Certainly you can take issue with the language, but it wasn't he wasn't saying he was just going to do whatever he wanted, regardless of, Anyway.
You know what? I'll take that as a win. I'll take that as a thumbs up to Jake Tapper. He simply clarified, and hats off to him.
Well, anyway, but let's talk. I mean, but you take my point. You don't disagree, right? I'm saying I'm going to protect them, whether that women want me to protect them, whether right.
And some would say that's misogynist, and that's.
But it's not as she presented it.
I think. Look,
it's not as she presented it. That's all the news needs to do. He doesn't have to even say he's a Trump fan. He just clarifies it. Here's Bram Resnick of AZ Central now stirring up more dust on that Trump Liz Cheney comment.
Talk about this breaking news regarding Donald Trump's comments that he made about Liz Cheney in Arizona last night. The Attorney General is responding.
That's right. I just spoke to Attorney General Chris Mays about.
Hold on, Chris Mays. There she is, Democrat Attorney General of Arizona.
2 hours ago for the taping of my Sunday show. She told me she just gotten off the phone with her criminal division chief, and she was investigating whether what Donald Trump said about Liz Cheney constituted a death threat under Arizona law. I'll tell you, under Arizona law, it is illegal to make threats or intimidate someone, can be charged as a class 1 misdemeanor, class 6 felony.
Oh, so Arizona could make Trump a felony. That's what the Democrats do, and they are not trying to help. MSNBC is not trying to clarify. They will not give the other side of that comment, saying this is a different way to see the context. They won't show you both sides. They'll show one side. That's why I'm so impressed with Jake Tapper clarifying it in the right way.
Why does half of America hate him? They haven't met him, and the media is telling them to hate him.
The media's doing this. I like that clarity also. Guys like Bram Resnick and MSNBC are trying to get America to hate Trump.
Chris Mays told me they're looking into it. I asked her whether this was just political speech, free speech. She said we're checking to see if it crossed that line. But she also put it in the larger perspective. If you're here right now, you begin to understand how this place is ready for a high security event on Tuesday, an election.
An election where in Arizona, Trump is leading and they're calling it a high security event. That means they're probably afraid of what Democrats will do.
Our sheriff's office is talking about a no tolerance policy for protests. Chris Mays is activating all her agents. Every law enforcement agency in the state is involved with protecting the vote, protecting voters. So that's Chris Mays brought that into the conversation, that for Donald Trump to make these kinds of remarks at this time, such a really fraught and tense moment here in Maricopa County, is just bad.
That's a moral statement. He's saying it is morally bad. That's an opinion. That is not a fact, that it is bad to make what he said, which, to clarify, he said Liz Cheney, they're real good at sending people into war, but she's never had to face it having 9 barrels pointed at her face. Again, it is typical Trump rhetoric. It can be interpreted 2 ways. And the way that the media chooses to interpret everything, and they're really going to try and run with this one. This is why I'm covering it. This is the second time I've covered this event. I believe they're going to run with this and try and possibly run them up with a felony, but you heard it here first. Now, meanwhile, with the rest of the election, there are problems in Pennsylvania. They had the huge lines with the extended long vote last night, late vote. They didn't put enough volunteers in to handle the mass of people trying to vote in person. Here's Scott Pressler on Twitter. To every board of elections across Pennsylvania, we have eyes, ears, and technology everywhere. They're filming everything. They're recording everything. Please note peacefully that everything you do is being monitored. We also have people on the inside feeding us information. Any illegal activities will be caught. And that's just because there's a huge Democrat machine there that they just want to let them know, there's lawyers on the ground. People, this isn't going to be like any other election where you find out the day after what happens. They're going to be recording it and monitoring it the day of. I just wanted to send that message out to you guys to give you some level of comfort. There's a lot more people watching and recording. Lawyers are on the ground. That makes me feel a little better.
And I said this. I said, you're demonizing him. You're vilifying him. You're calling us garbage. You're calling him Hitler. You're calling him a fascist. And of course, people are going to hate him.
I like that shrug at the end. It's rational that people would hate Trump, given how the media has lied for him. They don't even hate him. They just want him to lose. And this is what the media does to try and get Kamala to win. And it really is a lie, and it really is morally bad. Since Bram Resnick stepped in, I'll give my own opinion on it. It is morally bad for the media to do this just because they're Democrats and just because they want to win. But we know it's human nature. That's what people do. At least that's what the left does. I'm Doug in Exile. Don't forget to subscribe. I'd love to have you guys in our community.